I wish for an A on the final exam. I said it in front of the entire class. My ninth grade honors English teacher didn't even blink. She just laughed, a cold, sharp sound, and looked me dead in the eyes. Yeah? And I wish for $1 million and to never have to deal with you again. She thought it was a joke. She thought she had already won. She spent an entire year trying to break me, sabotaging my grades and ignoring the very talent she once praised. But in 60 minutes, a 5-point bonus question was about to turn her entire career into a smoking crater. This wasn't just about a grade anymore. This was a psychological war. In ninth grade, I was a triple threat athlete. 3 sports, constant travel, and a schedule that would make a CEO sweat. Most of my teachers understood. They saw my academic competitions, my quiz bowl trophies, and my math awards. They knew I wasn't lazy, I was just busy. But Mrs. L? She hated athletes. To her, a jersey was a sign of low intelligence. She didn't care that I was in her honors class. She saw my absences as a personal insult. Her retaliation was calculated. She wouldn't check homework every day. No, that would be too fair. She waited. She waited until the day after a long away game, when she knew the players got home at midnight, to suddenly decide that today was homework check day. And just to twist the knife, she'd double the assignment load for those specific days. It wasn't teaching, it was an ambush. But the real mind game started with my essays. I'd turn in a paper I knew was flawless. When I got it back, 75, 82, no red marks, no corrections, nothing. Meanwhile, then the student next to me had a paper bleeding with red ink, grammar errors, weak arguments, the works. Their grade, 95. I finally walked up to her desk. Why is my paper a C with no mistakes, while this one is an A with 20? She didn't even look up. Because you're only giving me 70% of your ultimate capability. They're giving me 90% of theirs. I felt my brain skip a beat. So, you're saying my work can be objectively better than someone else's, but I get a lower grade because you think I'm not trying hard enough? Yes, she said, with a terrifying amount of confidence. Here's the kicker. A year earlier, this same woman had recommended me for an advanced writing class a full year ahead of schedule. She knew I was a top-tier writer. She just decided that because I played basketball, I didn't deserve the credit for it. The breaking point came with the Antigone extra credit. It was simple. Go to a local college play, write a 2,500-word analysis, and turn in the ticket stub. Easy, right? Except the play ran Friday to Sunday, and the paper was due Monday. I told her a week in advance, I'm representing the school at a major academic competition on Monday. I won't be here. No problem, she told me, 4 separate times. Just bring it Tuesday morning. I spent my weekend rushing from sports practice to the theater, then stayed up late writing that 2,500-word beast. Monday, I went to the competition. I took first place in one category and second in another. I was on a high. Tuesday morning, 7 a.m. I walked into her room before basketball practice, paper in hand. I'm not taking it, she said. I froze. What? You said Tuesday was fine. I don't recall saying that, she smirked. It's late, 0 credit. She gave me 3 excuses. First, another student who went to the competition turned it in on Monday. Yeah, he lived across the street. I lived 20 minutes away and couldn't drive. Second, my mom, who was also a teacher at the school, could have brought it. Why would I involve my mom when the teacher told me Tuesday was fine? Third, she claimed I probably wrote it Monday night, which wouldn't be fair to others. I pulled up the metadata. Look at the timestamp, Mrs. L. The file was last saved Saturday afternoon. I haven't touched it since. She didn't care. She looked at the digital proof, looked at me and said, still no. My mom was furious. The $25 for the ticket was gone. The hours of work were gone. But the final boss of the semester was still coming. Mrs. L prided herself on one thing. Nobody ever made an A on her final exam. She treated her exam like a fortress. It was 100 questions of pure academic torture, plus a 5-point bonus question at the end. The bonus was always something generic. What was your favorite part of the class? What did you learn? The rule was, you have 2 hours. Even if you finish early, you stay for at least 60 minutes so you don't distract the others. I sat down, I opened the booklet, and I went into a trance. Every unfair grade, every 70% capability comment, every lie about the Antigone paper, it all poured into my pen. I finished all 100 questions in exactly 20 minutes. Now I had 40 minutes of dead silence. I turned to the bonus question. What did I learn in this class? I didn't give her the thank you she expected. I blasted her. I wrote a 40-minute manifesto using every advanced writing technique she knew I possessed. I told her I learned nothing because she never provided a single critique on how to improve. I told her my favorite part of the class was the fact that it was ending. I told her she was the most unprofessional educator I had ever encountered and that the entire 9th grade was suffering because of her presence. I didn't use insults. I used precision. I dismantled her entire teaching philosophy in 5 points of extra credit. When the clock hit 60 minutes, I was the only person out of 110 students to stand up. I handed her the paper and walked out into the breezeway. A few minutes later, she found me. She wasn't angry. She was crying. Tears were streaming down her face, her hands shaking as she held my exam. "My office, now," she choked out. We ended up in the principal's office. She called my mom out of the room where she was proctoring an exam. Mrs. L was hysterical, screaming, sobbing, literally choking on her words as she showed the principal what I wrote. For 45 minutes I sat there and calmly listed every single thing she had done to me that year. Every homework ambush, every arbitrary grade, the Antigone lie. The principal looked at the exam. Then he looked at Mrs. L. "How much was this question worth?" he asked. 5. 5 bonus points, she sobbed. The principal sighed, closed the folder, and looked at her like she was a child. "Then just don't give him the bonus points." I made a 98 on that impossible exam. I missed 2 questions. Every other student got the 5 bonus points, and the next highest grade in the entire grade level was an 81. Without her 70% capability filter, I had obliterated her record. She tried to get the last laugh by secretly changing a grade from August by 10 points right before the deadline. It dropped my final average to a 94.4, a B back then. I couldn't prove it, but I knew. But karma has a funny way of working. The very next summer, the school switched to a 10-point scale. My 94.4 B instantly became an A. And Mrs. L? The principal didn't forget that 45-minute meeting. She was placed under strict supervision. Every homework assignment she gave had to be signed off by the department chair. She was forced to accept digital submissions. 2 years later, after more students came forward with similar stories of power trips and 70% logic, she was finally fired. She wanted me to learn a lesson about ultimate capability. I think she finally learned hers. If you've ever had a teacher who tried to dim your light just because you didn't fit their mold, let me know in the comments. How did you handle it? And if you want to see more stories of justice being served in the most satisfying way possible, hit that subscribe button. Class dismissed.